Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to Chicago. We have October the 29th, 2025 here. We got 11:24. They got a here. Chicago Fire is filming here. I'm going to walk down the street. We're just going to walk straight through Michigan here. We're on a public street here. I'm going to stay on the sidewalk and we're going to walk past this. Hey, how you doing? Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm on YouTube now because I'm getting away from TikTok with Brian Really Chicago. Appreciate it. Thank you. That's pretty good. So here's the Chicago Fire here. We'll see if we can head straight through. We're walking through here. They're doing they're doing a live filming here. You see how that's a fake wreck for the TV show. They got the gurney here. This is a real Chicago Fire Department engine that they reuse here for the Chicago Fire TV show. See, they might be filming here. I'll keep my voice down. And look, they're doing a taping here. There it is right there. Maybe. It's for Chicago Fire right there. It's live filming here. My camera's a little crooked here, but we'll get it straight here. So we'll head straight through. So look at this. This is the live set for the Chicago Fire here. We'll keep walking. We're gonna keep the filming right here. So we got to keep walking because we're actually in the background. We're in the background of the shot. So they want to make sure I keep walking. And I was trying to get the camera straight because my gimbal was giving me fits here. So hey, you see where we're at here? Welcome to Chicago. Welcome here to Michigan Avenue. Let me get the camera straight here. So hey, that's a good way to start our live stream here. Thanks for tuning in here. Appreciate it. Thanks for being a live audience. Rolling. So they're rolling there. They're rolling for Chicago Fire there. Thanks for tuning in here. So hey, if you just joined, this is Brian Really Chicago here. I'm on a little early because there's a bridge lift today, and we'll head back here later at the end of this live stream. We'll come back and see if we can get some more footage of the Chicago Fire there. I'm gonna head straight over towards the river and we'll see how far along they are with the sailboats there. Hey, your sister was an extra? That's good. Yeah, see, Chicago Toxic Donut there. Helmet, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in from Germany. Yeah. Donkey Shane, how you doing there? Yeah. So, yeah, we're in Chicago. We're at Lake and Garland. I just wanted to, it always makes me nervous because I know the security guards that they hire for those filming, they want you to keep walking, and I'm trying to film and look at what I'm filming, and the whole time they're saying keep moving, you can't stay here, because even though it's a public sidewalk, they don't want me just sitting there filming because you can see it in the show. You might see me walking there streaming in the show. They're taping for Chicago Fire right there. That's Lake in Michigan. We saw it this morning, and I was talking to one of my colleagues there, the people, the security guard that works for the building there, and we were talking about corporate space and the public sidewalk, and they get a permit from the city to use the public streets. That's why they use that street there, because it's easy to block off and it doesn't really impact traffic that much. So here's the Trump Tower. Here's Wabash. Here we're in Chicago. Here I'm starting my lunchtime live stream a bit early. Here's the guy on the suit and the bike there. I've been there before. Hey, you take a divvy and you try to get across town. Yeah. He's late for a meeting. Hey, they're working on Lake Street here. We'll head up to the Riverwalk. We'll be able to quickly tell how far they are along with the bridge lift. They're probably over by Wells Street. We got about 55 degrees, 54 degrees maybe. It's a little windy today. It's sunny. At least it's sunny. But hey, Jackie, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in here. Welcome to Chicago. We're gonna, every Wednesday and Saturday, they lift the Bascule drawbridges over the Chicago River. In the spring and fall, in the fall, the sailboats go back to winter storage. Most of the boats are sadly leaving the harbors and packing up shop for the winter. And so we'll see if we catch the end of it. If you want to see, we started at the Michigan Avenue Bridge last Wednesday. So if you want to see a longer rerun of the sailboats going through these drawbridges, you can watch the rerun from last Wednesday on my reruns there on the live tab. And so we'll head, there's the Marina Towers there, Trump Tower, Wrigley Building. We're on Wacker Drive now under the 35 East Wacker Drive, which is the Jewelers Building. This is the Jewelers Building. This has an amazing lobby. And I'll act like I'm lost and just, I know the security doesn't, but look at this ceiling here. Look at this amazing lobby of the Jewelers Building. And you can, yeah, I'm heading out here. I'm just lost. I'm lost. I didn't know where I was at. See how fast they don't want people to know how nice this building is. Isn't that funny? I saw him standing there, and look, it only took him 1 second for him to call me sir. I feel so privileged. He called me sir. Usually when they say sir, they're about to slam you to the ground. Now that's great security. There's great security that work for that building. I appreciate the people that work security there for the Jewelers Building here. So hey, we'll head over towards Hey, Helmet, yeah, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks for checking out the streams on YouTube. Yeah, I'm moving away from TikTok. I'm streaming exclusively on YouTube now. We'll probably continue that. I'm exploring an option where we might do some subscriber-only content on TikTok. I'm still angry at TikTok. Thanks to everybody that canceled your subscriptions on TikTok. At one time, I had almost 150 subscriptions on TikTok. Now we're down to 0, which is good. And I know TikTok is like changed their subscription, so now they're paying 70 to 90%. That's probably because we canceled our subscriptions because 50% of the money was going to TikTok and not going to the creators. And you know, Apple was involved with this, Google was involved with this. The way the app stores work, it was a racket. People thought they were paying subscriptions to me, and they were really paying subscriptions. And then when they would remove my account, they wouldn't stop people's subscription money. It would still go to TikTok and not to me. And so here's we got the walk. I'm confused here. So I think it's confusing because there's no oncoming traffic because the bridge is closed, or they're working on the bridge here. So hey, we'll head down to the Chicago Riverwalk. We'll I'm lost in Chicago. Bangladesh, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. How you doing here? So here, we'll head down to Chicago Riverwalk. We'll head over towards the confluence here. And on the way back, we'll cruise by Daily Plaza to see if they're setting up for the Kris Kringle market here. Bangladesh. Sherry, how you doing there? Yeah, you enjoyed Chicago? Good. Thanks for checking us out here. Zoom Patrol, Seattle's tuning in. Yeah, we know you, Zoom Patrol. Thanks for your nice comments here. Yeah. And we support Seattle and Portland, Chicago. We support all American cities, but you know, even Memphis, which was dealing with the National Guard being deployed there as well, and Los Angeles and Boston. we gotta have solidarity. You ever watch Major Hustler there in Seattle? He's a TikTok famous live streamer there in Seattle. Tim, his name's Tim. Major Hustler. He's a great guy. He's got such a laid back attitude. He's just like and he knows all like the Chicago, or not Chicago, he knows the Seattle police officers because they know him. He films fires and all kinds of interesting happenings in Seattle there. Yeah. Melee, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks. I'm Sir Brian. Yeah, he called me sir. Said, sir, get out of here, sir. You're not welcome here, sir. We don't want nobody sent. So I don't see any sailboats at all. So the sailboats must be much further down. They must be making progress. And if maybe there's not even a bridge lift today, maybe they decided not to do it. And so if that's the case, we'll just do our lunch walk early. And we got 11:34 here. And we'll head over towards the West Loop here. Here's our GMC food. Hey, here's the skeleton. Here's the skeleton. How you doing there? Hey, you got the thumbs up there. The thumbs up. Yeah, tiny tap. I'm gonna get a copyright strike from this music. I'll try to talk over it so maybe you can't discover what's happening here. It's just a bunch of noise. Hey, you can get some water here. We're going by the Tiny Tap Cafe here, Chicago Riverwalk, Clark Street. Yeah, hey, it's me. How you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. People unite. Yeah, people unite. I like your name there. The exclamation point. Yeah, I'm not going to declare like my political affiliations. I think you'll figure it out eventually. You'll figure it out by the trolls trolling me. You know, they're after me, they're on me. Here's the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. This cleans up the river. You see how the garbage can get scooped in there? They can clean it up. Very nice here. There's the Metropolitan Water Reclamation District of Greater Chicago. You can help improve water quality and prevent flooding. Hey, thanks for cleaning up the river. That is awesome. Look at that. That cleans up the river. It goes around there. There's your city. We're the city that works. See, they missed some there. There's your Hennessy bottle floating around. Hey, there's the fall colors. Let's go check out the trees here. So here's the Botanica building. Yeah, there's still water taxis. There's 2 sailboats. So we caught up with the sailboats. Good. So they're waiting for the Wells Street Bridge. So you're in luck. We're going to, hopefully in a few minutes, they got to wait for the CTA trains. The Wells Street Bridge always takes longer because it has the elevated CTA train tracks over it, and so does the Lake Street Bridge. These are bascule drawbridges. The sailboats already went through all these bridges. If you want to see them go through these bridges, you can check out my rerun from last Wednesday. We filmed the bridge lift. I started earlier. I had to get out of a meeting here at work. I went to work this morning. They were filming for Chicago Fire. That's how we started this live, and when we end it, we'll end up back because they're filming right near where I work. Look, there's some pumpkins. Some pumpkins blew off and they're in the river bobbing around, so you can go bobbing for pumpkins there. Hey, how you doing? Hey, how you doing? Thanks for saying hello. They're filming Chicago Fire at Lake in Michigan, so hey, that's good. Friends and neighbors there. That's good. So hey, we'll go over. You're gonna film the bridge lift here. Here, let's see if we'll catch. These might be the guys we know. These might be the guys we know that sang happy birthday to the one guy's father there, Randy, that had a birthday. So if these guys are the guys we know, they're going to be, we can talk with them and they're a lot of fun but it might be a different group. I don't know. And sometimes see, here comes the brown line. So they're waiting, they're trying to get as many trains across the bridge before they lift it. So here's the brown line heading across Wells Street. And here, welcome to Chicago. That's a red line. What's a red line? What's a red line train doing on the purple and brown lines here? Here's some people here. So we got 4 sailboats. 1, 2, 3, 4. How you doing? Hey, how you doing? Brian Really Chicago. How you doing? Hey, thanks for saying hello. That's great. Yeah, that's good. So here, that's a red line. I don't know what they must have changed the thing here. We've seen these people because we've been usually in the spring and fall. We film this, and you know, the people have thrown me bottles of Malort from the sailboats. People have asked me to get on the boats. I should have took them up on it, but I had to get back to work. I felt like such a loser. I was like, I should have just like took the day off and went on their boat and sailed all the way down to Chinatown. That way, hindsight's 2020. But hey, we got 4 sailboats heading through here on a Wednesday. And we'll wait around here until they go through here. So, hey, here comes the shoreline sightseeing here. So, I'll address your question, Lori, once I get get across here, and it's so noisy with the train. It's much louder here than it sounds. I can't hardly hear myself talk here, so wait till this train passes here, and then I'll address your question. Here's the Evening Star, shoreline sightseeing. Here's the Merchandise Mart. Okay, so the reason I'm not live streaming on TikTok anymore is TikTok changed their terms and conditions, and it makes it really hard for my type of live streaming. And when I repost content, I like to speed up the video, and I like to time it to music. The vast music library that TikTok has. And because of that, because I post so much content, I post reruns, I live stream 3 times a day. I was live streaming 2 times on TikTok and once on YouTube for 2 years here. TikTok kicked me out of the creator fund. We knew this was going to happen when they it hasn't just happened to me, it happened to other creators where we get kicked out of the creator fund, and it made me very angry. I have a lot of beef against TikTok because I've been live streaming on TikTok for years, almost 3 years now. And after they deleted one of my entire accounts at 38,000, I've been penalties for riding a bike, live streaming riding a bike, penalties for saying a word that their algorithm didn't like, which is a Wikipedia word for a real CIA operation. And I was trying to let people know what's happening this year with ICE has happened before in the 1950s, and they gave me a strike for real information. The chilling effects of what the algorithm does, it can suppress speech, which TikTok is not free speech because it's corporate monetized speech. They can remove you from their platform for any reason. You have no First Amendment free speech rights, nor do we expect it, even on YouTube, TikTok, whatever. And so it's and so I've been wanting to move to YouTube to my live streaming for a while, because for me, you can watch the whole, like if you miss this, like last Wednesday, if you missed the bridge lift, you can watch the entire rerun. I don't have to sit there and work on the clips. Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'll come up there. How you doing here? So, so I might still use TikTok as a VIP only option for subscriber only content. I am so angry at TikTok that I'm tired of making money for their company. And the amount of money I've made has only been a few $1,000s over my 3-year career here. So here, we'll head up here and we'll see how long it takes for them to open this bridge here. Hey, I'm gonna say hello to this guy, see what he's saying here. How you doing? Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm Brian. How you doing? Hey, nice to meet you. What's your name? What's your name? Jose. Thanks for saying hello. How you doing? Thanks for. And if you don't want to be on camera, I'll bring you up there. But I just want to say hello. Thanks for watching the channel there. It's good. And you're gonna lift this bridge. So you're gonna film it too. Good. That's good. Very nice. That's great. So, hey, he's filming it too. Very nice. So there it is. And we'll head down here. That's good. That's good. Very nice. So, see, he's a fellow streamer too. He's doing his own thing there. That's good. And so, yeah, here's the Merchandise Mart. And, yeah, so we're waiting for this bridge to open. But, as I told people, I have not deleted my TikTok account. I have not been posting content for only 5 days. Thanks for noticing. I'm very happy and proud of my subscribers. Every single one of my subscribers has canceled their subscriptions because I asked them to. And some people have transferred their subscriptions to YouTube. I appreciate that. I don't expect anybody to do that. I know not everybody likes YouTube. YouTube has its disadvantages as well. But hey, thanks for you're watching here on YouTube. I appreciate that. And I was really afraid that TikTok would ban my account if I streamed the No Kings march. I really thought that they were going to start canceling or counts, but I'm thankful. Ernesto Chicago Nuggies, he filmed it. Healthcare Should Be Free filmed it on TikTok. And they were able to film the march, and so was Jody GTV was able to stream some of the protest activity, and their accounts are fine. So I was being overly paranoid about the new Oracle takeover of TikTok, which probably will be finalized tomorrow. we're worried that they want to make an American-only version of TikTok and force people to download a new app that's in development. We don't know if that's happening in December or not. So there's a lot of, even though the TikTok deal might happen Thursday, tomorrow, as a result of the Chinese tariff negotiations that are going on right now with President Trump's foreign trip there. So here, Vin, Chicago. Yeah, we've seen this boat before. How you doing here? Christopher, how you doing? Yeah, see, Christopher's been on YouTube. You're doing well. Christopher's been on YouTube posting content, I think, as long as I have, or maybe longer. Thanks, Christopher, for the feedback there. Yeah, the pictures, Chris, is because, like, Christopher uses Prism. I use Streamlabs. Streamlabs is a live streaming app that works on top of, you can use it to stream on multiple platforms at the same time. The reason I don't do that, people say, oh, you can stream on TikTok and YouTube at the same time, but Christopher Dodson knows sometimes you can violate the terms and conditions of TikTok, but YouTube's fine with it. For example, I could say the word marijuana on YouTube. I've been banned before by saying the word marijuana on TikTok, even if I wasn't filming a dispensary. Now, if I said the word in combination of filming a dispensary, they almost certainly would ban my account live streaming because they think I'm promoting a business that they don't approve of. And even though it's legal in Illinois, once again, the laws of the country don't apply to private corporations. They can choose, they can change their terms and conditions at any time for any reason. And you have no legal recourse, and their lawyers can always outspin your lawyers. And I never knew I'd be in this situation where we're dealing with the lawyer corporate power of big giant billion-trillion-dollar corporations like Apple and Google and ByteDance. But hey, welcome to the world of diminishing returns. Here we are. Nelios knows what I'm talking about. I've been talking about. Somebody asked me why I'm not on TikTok anymore, and it led to that whole diatribe there. Here we're between LaSalle and Wells. We're patiently waiting for the Wells Street Bridge open. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to head to the Franklin Street Bridge. I'm going to head to the Franklin Street Bridge and get in the middle. They're eventually going to open the Franklin Street Bridge, but we'll be able to get off once they start lifting this bridge. So we'll head over here. RGR. You use Prism, you're back off. Oh, is Prism having problems? You're having issues with Streamlabs on Friday. Yeah, see, I'm sorry to hear that, Christopher. I know, it's your picture's usually crisp. You film in landscape. I'm sorry to hear you're having problems with Prism. See, I know I've had problems with Streamlabs before too, as you heard me. Sometimes the comments don't work. It took me a long time to get the Streamlabs working the way I got it working now, and I don't want to mess with it because, you know, I got the resolution. Because, you know, see, Christopher Dodson knows if you use the YouTube app, YouTube has a live streaming app that goes with their mobile app to watch their content. And if you live stream, eventually you'll go between cell towers and your image resolution will get poor. And the problem with the app is sometimes the resolution stays poor even though your signal comes back and the resolution is all pixelated and people won't watch. And we've complained incessantly. Do you think as a company with as many resources as Google Alphabet could solve this problem, especially if they want to compete with TikTok? But live streaming is not a priority because not many people, most people that live stream on YouTube do it from a Wi-Fi in their, like, you know, their studio set there with their reverb mic, and they're like trying to be like Joe Rogan, and they got like a podcast video stream, or they'll have like a sports show. I have a friend of mine in Cincinnati. He does YouTube. He does Cincinnati sports, Bengals and Reds. He's got a mic. He looks like ESPN. He's got all the memorabilia, all the Bengals gear behind him, the Jackpot Joey t-shirts. He's got all that. And, you know, he's got a nice, dedicated local audience there in Cincinnati. But, you know, you got to like the Bengals or the Reds. Same with Chicago. Not everybody likes Chicago. So here, we'll cross the Chicago River here. We're waiting for a bridge lift here. Hey, look at that nice view. We got the Purple Line. The Purple Line's heading across here. Yeah, have you ever tried the YouTube app, Christopher? I really want to use the YouTube app, but I've had problems with the resolution. And some of my viewers, you know what I'm talking about. If I use the YouTube app, it has issues. Hey, Carol, Elias, RGR. But you guys know, thanks for following Christopher there. If you like my content, you'll like Christopher's. He does New York City mainly, but he travels around too. There, we're in the middle of the Franklin Street Bridge. They're getting as many trains across here. This usually happens where you wait and wait for the Wells Street Bridge to open. And I never know when it's going to open and when it's not. But here, we'll stick here. We'll check out the giant heads here of the merchandise mart while we're waiting. So if you missed it, they were filming for a Chicago fire there. We started the live stream there. You can rewind. I posted 3 shorts, and there's a 5-minute clip from this morning where the security was chasing me off the sidewalk there. But they talked to me. I think they knew who I was. And they're like, you know, they're just doing their job. And I talked to the corporate security in my building, and he's like, as long as you stay on the sidewalk and keep walking, you should be fine. And that's what we did. Hey, I might be on the TV show that you see me. You'll see Brian Really Chicago walking in the back of Chicago Fire. Maybe they'll give me a credit on the screen there. Here's the merchandise mart. So I got to be careful here because this is there's the water taxi. There's the Chicago water taxi. Somebody asked if they still run the water taxi. They're still running. They run them later in the year now because we're having such mild winters. I want to see the hot tub boat out pretty soon here. But here's the merchandise mart. We got a beautiful 55-degree sunny day, and we'll head over to see the Sears Tower. Here's the giant heads on the merchandise mart. They got this esplanade here, and yeah, these are all the business leaders of that time: Marshall Field and Woolsworth, Aaron Montgomery Ward. All these robber barons of the Gilded Age pulled their resources to build this building, and then the stock market crashed before they started it. They decided to keep building it anyway, and then they had to sell it because no one had any money to pay for the space. There's the Sears Tower. Look at that beautiful view to the Sears Tower. And we're going to see the Franklin Street Bridge open. We're going to see the Wells Street Bridge open. There's 4 sailboats waiting to go through there, and until that does, we'll look at the beautiful view to the Sears Tower there. Over 1,400 feet tall. It's technically called the Willis Tower, but I still call it the Sears, as most Chicagoans do, because Sears is the name of the company that built it. Sears Roebuck mail order catalog. And that's why Montgomery Ward, Huntington, Hortford, this is Wanamaker, Woolsworth, and Marshall Fields are all over this. Marshall Field. Tours by the waterfront. Danny, yeah, Grand Rapids. Hey, Grand Rapids has a nice waterfront. Yeah, you got the rapids there, the beautiful skyline of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Yeah, you check that out. You can take the Amtrak there from Chicago. You can easily get to Grand Rapids. And beautiful city there in Michigan. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. There's the Green Line heading across the Lake Street Bridge. You're looking at Franklin in the foreground. This is Chicago River, Chicago, Illinois. We're waiting for 4 sailboats, but they're still letting cars and trains across here, so it might be a while. We got 11:52. We were over by the merchandise mart. There it is. And you got this nice esplanade. So, hey, let's check out the furniture. Of course, they'd have good furniture at the merchandise mart. That's what this does. Merchandise vendors. Here, Aaron Montgomery Ward. That's what he looked like. Big mustache. We got Montgomery Ward to thank for the Buckingham Fountain is where it's at in Grant Park because he fought Marshall Field. Marshall Field wanted to put his field museum right where the Buckingham Fountain was back when they were building that over 100 years ago. And the reason it's called the Buckingham family, there was a family in Chicago. They coincidentally had the same name as the Buckingham Palace. I guess they came from England, of course, originally. And the patriarch of the family fortune, he owned a bunch of grain silos. They would have giant grain silos at the mouth of the Chicago River with the railheads, and they would transfer the grain coming in from Kansas and Nebraska and Iowa and Minnesota and Illinois and Indiana, all the wheat and corn, and they would store the grain and put it on barges, ship it out to New York and the Erie Canal and down to Mississippi. And he made a fortune, and so his heirs, his daughter and son, they donated money to the Buckingham Fountain, and that's why the Buckingham Fountain is named the Buckingham Fountain. It has nothing to do with Queen Elizabeth, but she visited it when she was young. Queen Elizabeth II visited Buckingham Fountain when the Queen Mary sailed up the St. Lawrence, when they opened the St. Lawrence Seaway, and they finished those canals in like the late 1950s. So she visited the Buckingham Fountain there. That's why they call it Queen's Landing. So here, we'll keep walking back and forth here. We're waiting for this bridge to open here. Hey, there's the, look at that. There's the train heading across there. Oh, you went to see Scream again? Yeah, they're showing it. That's good for Halloween. They had to see it in real life in the movie theater. I bet that was a lot of fun. Yeah, that's what we need to do, get out the old Halloween. I saw that they were doing movies in the park earlier this month. They were showing Poltergeist. And, oh no, they were showing The Exorcist. They were showing The Exorcist in Lincoln Park. That's a freaky movie. Even kids were watching it. That was good. They showed E.T. at the other park. E.T.'s not really a Halloween movie, but I guess they do dress up. They do dress up for Halloween in that movie because they dress up E.T. I forgot that. We saw the alien decorations. That was nice. There's the Sears Tower. We're over by Franklin and Wacker Drive there. Look at that. Sears Tower, nice view there. Yeah, Sears founded WLS 101, 100 years ago. Yeah, WLS, the Callstetter's world's largest store. I did not know that. Joel, thanks for the good info. Actually, I did know that. I forgot about that. WLS stands for World's Largest Store, the radio station. And thanks for, yeah, 101. 101 years ago. Joel Morganson, thanks for the good info. Aisha, how you doing there? Margie R. Daniel, thanks for tuning in there. So hey, we're trying to wait for this bridge to lift. The frustrating thing about filming a bridge lift is a lot of waiting around. Lots of waiting around. Reese's Pieces, yeah. There was product placement in the movie. That's when Spielberg learned a lesson from George Lucas. He said, we could make more money off of merchandising than the movie itself. Corporate branding, product placement. He used that in Back to the Future too. Back to the Future had a bunch of, that's why the Goodyear tire commercial, they knew to put that in the movie. They would use that later on for commercials. Coke. DeLorean. Too bad DeLorean went bankrupt before the movie came out. He was dealing drugs to make a profit. Yeah, you gotta meet those profit projections. Hey, we didn't sell enough DeLoreans. Well, hey, let's sell this white powder here. Let's see. Nobody will notice. we'll literally cook the books. Here's look at the Bright Star. Look at the Bright Star heading underneath the Wells Street Bridge here, Chicago, Illinois. What a beautiful day. Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, shoreline sightseeing. Over the moon. Yeah, Amblin. You're right. The Amblin. Yeah, they use that moon there. Yeah, with the kid on the bike with the fishing and all that. Yeah, isn't that nice? See, look, that's a red line train. It says the 95th. That's a red line train heading across the brown and purple line tracks, the Wells Street Bridge. The red lines on the L. That happens every once in a while. They can transfer to the red. They got to go all the way to the south along the green line. There's a way to get to the red line subway tunnels. You can transfer with the rolling stock here, the Chicago CTA. So here, let's head back over here. Let's get back on the Franklin Street Bridge. See, I could have stayed at work until like my normal time and came over here. I never know how long. You know, we missed a bunch of bridges when I was at work this morning, but now we're just waiting for the Wells Street Bridge, and we'll see if see. Look, it's stuck there waiting for signals, so they got to get that bridge or that train off the bridge before they can lift it. I mean, they got to go over this way. 23. Hey, Michael Rodriguez, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, if you just joined here, we're already out here by the Chicago River. Earlier, about 20 minutes ago, when I left the office there a little bit early, we saw the Chicago Fire was filming, and on the way back, we'll catch it if they're still filming there before I head back to work. But we're going to try to catch a few, at least one or two bridges open here. We might get a few more if they start moving here. How you doing? And we'll head across the Franklin Street Bridge. We'll film the bridge lift here if they lift the Wells Street Bridge. There, William Hale Thompson there in 1920 is when they built this bridge, the Franklin Street Bridge. He was mayor at the time. There, they're dinging the bell. So they're finally dinging the bell. I see the workers, the last people, the last pedestrians crossing the Wells Street Bridge. We're in the middle of the Franklin Street Bridge. Remember this, because we're going to start filming this, and then they're going to start dinging the bell for this one, and we'll have to get off because they're going to lift this bridge next. But I'm going to try to get into the center to get this great view of the Chicago skyline looking straight east towards the lake. In the middle of the Franklin Street Bridge, there's the trap doors. Here's the middle of the Basque Bridge. There's Salesforce Tower, Wolf Point, Sears Tower. We saw it. We can't see it now, but we saw it earlier. So they're dinging the bell here. We'll stick right here. Hey, Michael Anderson's on. We got all the Michaels there. D. Michael, Michael Rodriguez, Michael Anderson. Thanks everybody for tuning in here. Let's see if we can see a bridge lift here. I counted 4 sailboats. There were 4 sailboats. And we're on the Franklin Street Bridge here, Chicago, Illinois, Chicago River. We got 12:01 in the PM. We got 55 degrees, sunny skies. October the 29th, 2025. And we were over there by the Giant Heads earlier. Your high school soundtrack, yeah. Yeah, the first bridge lift. So if you want to see the other bridges that we missed, you go to Wednesday, a week ago Wednesday, and you see the live reruns there. You should see it. That we did clips and stuff. We're gonna watch the Wells Street Bridge lift here. They might just lift one side since that guy's standing there. I don't know if they're just going to lift one half or both sides. There goes the Chicago's First Lady there. Look at that, the architectural tour boat. Hey, I posted that rerun, the nice couple from England, UK. They had all these people tell them, don't come to Chicago, you won't like it, the crime's horrible, stay away from Chicago. They decided to make the trip anyway. They're major influencers. They have hundreds of thousands of followers on multiple media platforms. They travel the world. They came to Chicago. They were pleasantly surprised, even despite the ICE raids and the rampant crime that everybody talks about in the comments here. They said they had a great time. They really liked the architecture. They felt safe. I'm sure they stayed in the downtown touristy areas, but they were fine. And they were like, we don't understand why so many Americans put down Chicago. We know why. It's because of the politics, and we're used as a political hot bean to make cheap political points. And we're not the only city. Portland and New York City, Memphis, Tennessee, and Boston, and Los Angeles. What Los Angeles went through, they went through it first. We got to see what preview of what we were going to go through. Los Angeles went through it this summer. We went through it now, Operation Midway Blitz, and it's still going on right now. And we'll see how it goes here. But thanks for tuning in here. We're waiting for the Wells Street Bridge here. We're going to see if they lift half of this bridge and let the sailboats through here. So, yeah, it looks turquoise. Yeah, this river often looks green even when they don't dye it. It really looks green in March when they dye it for the St. Patrick's Day festivities, but it has a greenish hue to it because it's basically a canal. It runs in reverse. It runs, instead of running towards the lake, it runs towards the Illinois River in the sanitary ship canal, and they dredge it. It's about 10 to 20 feet deep, straight down the walls. Those walls go straight down. It's like a trough, and it wasn't always that way. They had to do a lot of work to get it the way it is. And these Basque bridges, there used to be bridges that turned in the center, but now they got these Basque bridges. And come on, lift this bridge. Yeah, Wes, how you doing there, Krista? Yeah. Hey, riding the bike. So as soon as I turn away, they'll start lifting it. Usually they get me. There's the, is that the green line? That's the green line heading across the Lake Street Bridge. Greg, how you doing? Aisha, Denise, yeah. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll get you a view of the merchandise mart here. Doing good. What's shaking? So I gotta be careful not to drop the phone over the bridge. That's another thing. You'll see a nice view of the phone landing in the water and sinking to the bottom. I got a waterproof phone, so you'll get to see what the bottom of the Chicago River looks like. There might be a submarine down there, a skeleton. There's the Wells Street Bridge. This is the vantage point we had for when they dyed the river green, you know, but then I lost my connection. But until that happened, there was a lot of people tuning in. There you can look over to the Carbide and Carbon building, the Mather Tower. That tall blue one is the St. Regis and Marina Towers here. Yeah, I don't want to check you overboard. I want to keep this show going here. Here comes the Voyager. Here comes a large barge. It's a little short barge, but still called a large barge. There it goes. So look, they're lifting right now. They're lifting the the northern half of the Wells Street Bridge. They're only lifting half of it. And there's a yellow water taxi going through. So if you just joined, welcome to Chicago. Here, they're doing a bridge lift today, October the 29th, Wednesday, 2025. And we're on the Franklin Street Bridge. And there's the Voyager little barge, and there's a yellow Wendella water taxi going through. They're going to let 4 sailboats through. And we got this great view looking towards the Chicago skyline, looking straight east on the main channel of the Chicago River. And there's the Wells Street Bridge, half of it in the upright position. And there it comes. Yeah, we'll get this water taxi going right underneath us. You can say hello to the water taxi here. Hey, how you doing? They're filming us, we're filming them. How you doing? Look at that beautiful view. Yeah. We filmed the bridge lift from a water taxi a few times. Those reruns are still on YouTube. So let me get off this bridge because they're going to lift it next. But look at this wonderful view here to the... I'm just amazed how paranoid people are. I wasn't even filming that guy. I turned the camera the other way and he still covered his face. Even though there was some other person taking a picture. You know, I guess they see me in a blue coat. They think I'm the police or ICE or something. Here's the 4 sailboats heading through the Wells Street Bridge. And thanks for tuning in. I was the same way. I used to be paranoid. I used to be afraid to show my face. At a certain point, you just like jump in the water and become a public figure. It's just the way it is. Yeah. Hey, look at that. There's the Wells Street Bridge. We'll look underneath it. So there's only 4 sailboats. They do this every Wednesday and Saturdays, spring and the fall. Sometimes, you know, they'll skip it if the weather or there's not enough boats to sign up. I've seen them do it for 1 boat. One time they did it for 1 sailboat. They lifted all these bridges and it was really cold. It was like in the spring. They were like the first people getting their boat in that year. Happy birthday, Aisha. Happy birthday. Yeah, I'm glad I caught that. Aisha, hope you have a great birthday here. We got sunshine here. Yeah, look how nice that looks. See the underneath of the Wells Street Bridge. This is double deck because that's the CTA train tracks that go on top of it there. There it is. There's the Wells Street Bridge. That one's next. Here's the merchandise mart. There, it's coming down. Look how fast it comes down there. So there's the Wells Street Bridge closing the northern half there. And Baskill Bridges. It's got a fulcrum, a counterweight, big concrete, heavy part that weighs more than the bridge, but they got it balanced there. Takes like a few hundred horsepower motor to raise and lift that thing. See, they got the bridge houses. People in that bridge house, there's the guy controlling it, or the person controlling it there. The bridge house right there. And then the Merchandise Mart station's right there. So, William Clemens, have you heard the conspiracy theory where Trump might willingly, and I don't think this would happen because I don't think Trump's ego would allow this. Trump, they're exploring, I'm sure Bannon has looked into this and they've talked about it, Steve Bannon, where Trump becomes the vice president and J.D. Vance becomes the president for the 2028 ticket, and then Trump will still maintain power, just like Putin did when Putin did the exact same thing in earlier, where Putin became like the vice premier and he had some other, yes man, be the president. Everybody knew Putin was still the president, so we know people, Trump supporters, you like authoritarianism, you want him to be president for life. We know this. We know the Constitution was amended to stop this. We're wondering if you actually care about the Constitution now that Trump's in charge, that you think Trump is the Constitution, and I want you to answer that question. Do you believe in the Fourth Amendment, unlawful search and seizures? Do you believe in even non-U.S. citizens should get due process under the law? Wouldn't that be nice? And that's why I get it from both ends. Like I'll complain or make some snide comment about ICE because how it's affecting Chicago, and people were like, "Well, you didn't complain when Obama and Biden deported 4 million people." I said, yeah, Obama was called deporter in chief and Biden didn't deport enough people. Too many people came in under the Biden administration. We all know this, but they did kick out millions of people, but they gave them a trial. They gave them due process, and it costs money and time. But so does ICE. ICE costs money and time, and you want to create this fear factor. And that's what it's about. It's about fear, intimidation. You're great at it. You're doing it right now with trolling me just in the comments. We're used to it. It has little effect. So keep doing it because it just strengthens my resolve to resist. And you would do the same thing. You would do the exact same thing. You did it under Biden. You resisted Biden. And that's why we're in a situation right now. We're allowed to do it. Politics. All politics is local. What if Trump loses? What are you going to do then? What if Trump runs in 2028 and loses? That's a possibility too. It's not guaranteed to win. So hey, it's just words. So what? Say it over and over again. You're just releasing endorphins in your own mind there. I can't convince you of anything. You can't convince me of anything. That's the state of the world is. We're all living in our own reality, including me. Choose your own adventure. But hey, they're closing the gates. Let's see, they're going to lift the Franklin Street Bridge here, so we'll watch the Franklin Street Bridge open here for these 4 sailboats. We'll check out a bridge lift here. Thanks for tuning in here, and appreciate it here. Freedom of speech, you got it, freedom of speech. And we let people have free speech here, but this is YouTube. It's not free speech. TikTok's not free speech either. TikTok has a bunch of words you can't say, so does YouTube. I didn't do it, the corporations did it. So blame them. It's not me. I'm subject to the same limitations of speech as you are here on this platform. Here, Franklin Street Bridge. How you doing here? I know Trump's got some health issues and the same issues that Biden was facing with. I mean, anybody that's president, it takes a toll on your mental health, And Biden was losing it towards the end of his term. Trump, longer we get into it, we might not. We'll be like, he should just ride off into the sunset. He can have his presidential library. He can live in he's already beaten the odds. He's already come back. He had a better comeback than Nixon, So here's the Brown Line train heading across the Wells Street Bridge. Welcome to Chicago here. We're doing a bridge lift here for October the 29th, 2025. We're waiting for the Franklin. We got 4 sailboats here. There's 3 over there. They just went underneath the Wells Street Bridge, and then they're going to head over here. So, a VP joke. Shady Vance. Yeah, they call him Shady Vance. It's not JD Vance. It's Shady Vance. College days. Yeah, Aisha. Yeah, everybody wish Aisha a happy birthday there. Yeah, that's good. Oh, the new waterfront park in Seattle. I would love to check that out. I would love to do some live streaming in Seattle. I would love to hook up with Major Hustler. I always want to go out there. I haven't had a chance yet, but yeah, there's some beautiful waterfront parks. They removed, well, years ago they removed the just like the Embarcadero in San Francisco, they removed the double-deck highway that blocked the waterfront and the Fisherman's Wharf there. Here's the Franklin Street Bridge. Here's the Franklin Street Bridge. Both sides are opening here, so we got a dramatic Basquiat Bridge, drawbridge lift here in Chicago. We're in front of the Merchandise Mart. And look at that. There's the Franklin Street Bridge in the upright position. Look at that. Yeah, Sheridan, Michael, Nelios, Margie R, Eric. That's badass. I agree. Look at that. Look at this bridge. Let's get closer to it here. Let's view it from the other side here. Yeah, we'll watch these sailboats come through here. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, I counted 4. Yeah. Well, that's the first lady's the 5th. Look at this thing. Look at this thing go underneath there. It's moving. Think about how much weight. Tons and tons of steel and concrete. They got a concrete deck there that's being lifted by the counterweight. Look at the Basquiat Bridge here. They got the bike lane. Hey, Franklin Street Bridge here, Chicago, Illinois. We got a bridge lift here. There goes the Chicago First Lady there. Look at that. There goes the sailboat. There's 4 sailboats heading through here. This happens usually Wednesdays and Saturdays in Chicago, spring and fall. They let the sailboats either out of the harbor or back in for winter storage. That's not a sailboat. Look at those 3 outboard motors there. Wow. Yeah, Christy, come on back here. Department of Transportation. Look at that. There, they're racing. There, well, yeah, let's get the Merchandise Mart behind there. That's a good way to do it here. There's Franklin Street Bridge with the Merchandise Mart in the background. The 3 last sailboats are heading through there. We got 12:16 in the PM here, October the 29th, 2025. Somebody covered their face and I'm filming that way. They were there, they covered their face, I'm filming that way and they covered their face. It's so funny. I saw them do it. Everybody's afraid of being filmed when they're in public. It's so funny. And then people will go in their bedrooms and strip down naked, but they won't. They'll go public and they're afraid to see their face, but they'll go naked in the comfort of their. They'll draw the curtains and they'll go online and let everybody watch online, but they won't let somebody watch through the window. It's funny. And that's okay. That's fine with me. You know, I understand it. You know, whatever you feel comfortable doing. It's mostly because they're doing it for money. Here's there it is. There's the Franklin Street Bridge. There's the Franklin Street Bridge going down. Oh, thanks for looking it up. Cognitive dissonance. According to Google search, or Google, yeah, each one of those counterweights weighs 1,595 short tons, over 3 million pounds. Thanks for the good info. I believe that. That shows you how heavy these bridges are, and they have counterweights that are equally as heavy, if not heavier, and they're perfectly balanced on the fulcrum. So you realize what an engineering marvel this is, these Basquiat bridges, and some of them have been here for over 100 years. You know, the Franklin Street Bridge said 1920. So this bridge is over 100 years old, and it still works. And, you know, there's the Lake Street Bridge. Some of them have trains over them. Yeah, every year they have a race from Chicago to Mackinac Island. I know people that have gone on that race. They start in Monroe Harbor. They usually do it in July. Hey, we got a Can-Am convertible here. Still warming up to have the Can-Am there. But here, we'll go over towards the Lake Street Bridge here. Hey, they're flying the Mexican flag. Hey, that's great. There's the, yeah, see the Franklin Street Bridge is already closed. They're about to let people drive and walk back across it. That's how fast it is. Here's the pink line. Here's the pink line heading across the Lake Street Bridge. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. How you doing? Yeah, the sailboats.
Right? I mean, that's a way for you to control the narrative, right? That it doesn't have to. It shows
Thanks, cognitive dissonance. Yeah, so I know you got to use your street smarts, and you got to know where you're going. It helps to know if you know how to get around and what you don't plan. But Chicago's like any other major city. New York City, Las Vegas, New Orleans. You gotta use your street smarts. But I talked about the people from England that recently visited Chicago. All these people said, don't come here, the crime's horrible, ICE, you don't want to come here when ICE is here. They came anyway, and they had a good time. They said they didn't feel unsafe. They have hundreds of thousands of followers on social media accounts, and they gave Chicago a positive review, and they seriously thought about canceling their trip. And it was mostly Americans that were telling them not to come here, that don't live here, that were trying to influence their perception of Chicago. And there's Chicago people that don't want anybody to move Chicago too. They're called gatekeepers. And I understand that they're worried about housing inflation, but cities, people always move in and out. You're not going to stop people from moving out or moving into this place or any other city. They want to do it. Hey, there I am. See ya. I gotta cover my face. I gotta cover my face. Oh yeah. Thanks, Christy. Well, thanks for not talking bad about us. We're just your fellow Americans. You don't have to like our politics. Just don't take it out on us personally. Different strokes for different folks. You don't have to live here. Thanks for tuning in and seeing it virtually here. So, hey, there's the beatnik. We still got something to offer. We're still part of America, whether you like it or not. Thanks for understanding. There's traffic. We're on Wacker. Down by Randolph. Oh, you saw that? Yeah, Christy. Yeah, see, it's on my, if you go to my page there, if you go to my reposts, you can see it there. So, and the reason so many people are covering their face, because ICE isn't, and they know ICE is filming people, and that's why they think I'm with ICE, because I'm a live streamer. Even though I've been streaming here for 3 years, people are covering their face because we fear our own government. We fear our own government. We don't trust our own government, and our government going to surveil us on social media. We always were worried about China surveilling us and spying on us. Well, it's our own government that's going to use social media against us. We've always known this. It was always possible. Depends on the administration. So here they're going to open this bridge next, the Lake Street Bridge. That's why I'm here on the Randolph Street Bridge. And we'll head over underneath. This is what I call the tuning fork building. That couple from England, they saw this building. They're like, how does it stand up? They went on an architectural cruise. Somebody gave them architectural cruise tickets. And that saved them $100. Someone gifted them $100, $50 tickets each for the architectural tour. Glad that nice fellow Chicagoans. They probably followed them and knew who they were. They wanted to show them a good time. So hey, yeah, Chicago misses you. Yeah, the clouds. See, look how the clouds reflect in the city. It looks like the clouds go through it. Yeah, that's the reflective e-glass. They use the new glass there. Hey, the small cheval. So the Ogilvy train station's over there. We'll head through this park here. So we're waiting for the bridge here. How you doing? We're waiting for the bridge lift here. They're going to lift the Lake Street Bridge here. Oh, really? I'll look into that. Yeah, I know they're starting to jail people for speech, which is very chilling effect. Yeah, they're trying to intimidate people. People have had FBI show up at their door for protest activity. They're like, we got you on film going to a protest. I'm fully prepared to lose my job because I went to the No Kings protest. It's all posted online. They're going to use that against me if they want to, that I went to a First Amendment, freedom of assembly, freedom of speech protest. But, we've seen in the age of McCarthyism. You remember McCarthyism? Your company could fire you if you were a member of the Socialist Party at one time. You went to a socialist meeting, and they'll label the whole thing as Antifa if you're against the current administration in any way. they'll deem you a left-wing socialist and marginalize you. We know we've seen this happen in other authoritarian societies. Here's the Lake Street Bridge. We always thought it couldn't happen in America, but it can happen here too. And if it can happen here, it can happen anywhere. Here's the Lake Street Bridge here. We're gonna see. They're probably just gonna lift half of it. They're working on it. This is under construction. That's why they got to close off. We got some wind here. We're underneath the 150 North Riverside, so this building is over top of us. Germany, Netherlands, India, Dubai. So hey, here's the Lake Street Bridge. What time we got? 12:25. So what I'm gonna do, I got to get back to work. We'll go back to the Randolph Bridge. We'll watch. Hopefully by then they'll lift this bridge. They're dinging the bell, and we'll either catch the lake or the Randolph if they do it fast enough. And then I'm gonna head across the loop. We'll go by Daly Plaza, and we'll see if they're setting up for the Kris Kringle. If you want to watch, last Wednesday we caught about a dozen bridges. We went all the way from Michigan all the way around. I streamed for over almost 2 hours that day, and you can watch the rerun there. But I just want to get this today since it's so sunny and nice. And thanks for tuning in here. So I'll continue to explore the possibility. If I do anything on TikTok, I haven't deleted that account. I'm going to do subscriber-only content on TikTok. And if I ever go live again on TikTok, it'll be subscriber-only chat where everybody can view it, even if you don't subscribe. Because I know people complain that they don't want to do a subscription because you don't want to give your credit card to TikTok. I understand that. I'm the same way. And I have to do it because I was in the Creator Fund. But they kicked me out of the Creator Fund. And there's many things I like about live streaming on YouTube, even if I have less. But, you know, there's people that still watch on TikTok. I appreciate everybody that gave me subscription money from TikTok, and we'll revive that. I really appreciate everybody canceling your subscriptions on TikTok because that shows them that we can teach them how to treat us, you know. And if they don't want my business, if they don't make me feel welcome on their platform, we'll go elsewhere. And TikTok doesn't care. There's been people with millions of followers, they ban their account. They don't care, even if they make money for TikTok, because they know somebody else will sign up and fill their place. There's so many other live streamers in this city and other cities. We're a dime a dozen. Thanks, Nelios. Yeah, see ya. Denise, have a good day there. Aisha's got a birthday. Born and raised in Ohio. Yeah, Michael Anderson, that's great. We know that. That's good. Thanks for tuning in there. Gisela, Virginia's tuning in. Thanks, Gisela. Thanks for tuning in from Virginia there. Virginia's for lovers, right? Oh, the walnut tree lighting's on Saturday. Thanks for the good info. So they're going to light the Christmas tree in the Walnut Room, which is at the 7th floor of the formerly Marshall Fields, which is now Macy's. And people still do reservations every holiday year time for the Walnut Room. We'll go up there. Yeah, thanks. Probably tomorrow we'll head through Marshall Fields through the loop there, and we'll check out. They have holiday decorations. That's why they're already doing holiday decorations for Marshall Fields. They want to do that Walnut Room tree lighting, and they're doing it. Yeah, the day after November 1st. They're doing it the day after Halloween. They're doing it on Dia de los Muertos. So you're 12:28. So I'm not going to wait around any longer. You'll have to watch the rerun from. Well, I missed the light, so since I missed the light, we'll wait for the next cycle light. If we get lucky, we'll see the Lake Street Bridge open. If not, I'm tired of waiting around all day for these bridges. Because you know me, I'd rather be walking. And there's 4 sailboats that are waiting to go. It'll go really quickly once they get through here. They'll just do these one after another, which we saw that last Wednesday. Hey, Orlando, Florida's tuning in there. Your sister was on live? That's good. That's very nice. Hey, Landy T there, yeah. Yeah, there it is. There's the Lake Street Bridge, so it worked out there. Lambie T. Yeah, you got your own country. The indigenous nations have their own territory nation that's separate and distinct from the United States, but it's protected by the United States, and we're indigenous people are Americans, as they were always were Americans, but they got their own citizenship and nationality in their own indigenous nations. And that's why I'm not a true Native American. I don't have a CDIB card, which happened after the Dawes Act, which is a colonial, blood quantum. People are like, oh, I'm a half, I'm 1/356 Cherokee. Well, so what? You have to be like born into the nation, speak the language. The nations and tribes determine who's Native American, not. I'm just proud of my indigenous ancestry, just like I'm proud of my European American history and my Melungeon history, which includes a lot of ethnicities, and I'm also proud of my distant Native American, because it's part of American history. Native American history is American history too. Here's the Lake Street Bridge here. Look at that, and look at that. Look at the boats. Look at the sailboats there. Very nice. And look at the clouds. Look how fast the clouds are moving. Clouds are moving. Here's the sailboats. So I'm going to wait for the next cycle to light here, and then we'll cross Wacker Drive here. Here comes the 4 sailboats. There's the Lake Street Bridge. They only opened half of it, and it has the upper part for the CTA trains. Has to decorate. Wind chimes, yeah. Yeah, you just missed Julie. Julie Reed was here earlier. So, but hey, yeah, Lambie T. I talked to Julie. I'm exploring doing subscriber-only content for TikTok. I think that's the way to do it, because then we can do subscriber-only chats, and the other people can watch in. They just won't be able to comment. And we did that last year around the DNC, and I personally enjoyed that. But I know to limit our exposure, but it's just the way I want to run my channel. So here, thanks for tuning in. Here's the Lake Street Bridge. Okay, let's cross the street here. Oh, I missed it. I keep missing the light. I keep like, it always sneaks up on me. So, hey, welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Randolph Street Bridge. They're about to open this bridge next. They just opened the Lake Street Bridge, and here they're dinging the bell. So we'll stick around, see the gates coming down. We got to get off the bridge, and I'm on the right side of the bridge. These are going to be the last people. They're going to risk it. They're going to walk across. And everybody's running to get off the bridge here. They're dinging the bell, and there's the bridge house. So hey, they're running. I'm on this side. I'm on this side. Yeah. Let's get back. We'll get back behind. You got to get back behind the gate here. There we go. Good. So here's everybody's running. Yeah, they're the last people running across here. There's the Lake Street Bridge. They let him across. Very good. They're going to raise this bridge next. So here, we'll back up here. We'll back up behind the line here. Thank you. Appreciate it. So here. Gotta go. There we go. We got the light. Hey, Michael, we're going to head back through the loop here. We'll stop by Daily Plaza. I want to see if they're setting up for the Kris Kringle Market. And, we're still not even to Halloween, but they're starting to get ready for all the holiday seasons here. And there's the traffic coming out of Wacker Drive. That's how you get up from Lower Wacker to Upper Wacker, this portion of the loop of Chicago. So, hey, we saw some bridge lifts there. Again, check out my footage from last Wednesday. It's many more bridges. And that's why we do the reruns. That's why we're on YouTube. You can watch the full live reruns if you missed, like this morning. If you missed me walking in the wind there on the lakefront, it was early. You can tune in. We saw Chicago Fire in the morning. We saw Chicago Fire at the beginning. They're taping Chicago Fire TV show as we speak. Lake in Michigan. That's where we're headed back there. I'll show you whatever they're doing, if they're still filming or not. They were filming a scene when we started this live. And I already cut out some of the clips from this morning to let people know if you want to stop by and watch it yourself. You can be an extra. You can be walking in the background. And, hey, the Loop of Chicago here. Randolph, Franklin. Hey, the fall colors here. We're starting to get the changing of the leaves here. Very nice. So Kyle, what I just said, I'm on my lunch break. I have a day job. YouTube and TikTok doesn't pay the bills. If you want to see a bridge lift, last Wednesday, I filmed about 12 bridges, a dozen bridges. Please watch the rerun. You are not paying. I do not work for you. You are not, you know, even if you have a subscription, you're not my employer. I choose where I go. I know you want to see the bridge lift, but I got to go back to my day job. You know, I have a 40 an hour salary job. I appreciate your interest in Chicago and the bridge lift. We have so much content on the bridge lift. Usually people don't see. There's only 98 people. I have more people tune in to watch random stuff than this bridge lift. This doesn't interest people. People don't. I've never had a bridge lift video go viral. I thought I would, but there's the Sears Tower. There's the Sears Tower. Most people are to them it's just like a mundane thing that happens every day, like somebody riding a scooter. It's amazing what, like me filming that 98 Oldsmobile with the trunk rear-ended, where the trunk looked like it was peeled off. That goes viral easier than something with has meaning or information in it. Isn't it funny? Just a car wreck will go viral, you know. And that's the way social media is programmed. If it bleeds, it leads, you know. East Lansing, how you doing there? Thanks, Nelius. Thanks for backing me up here. Yeah, thanks, Kyle. Thanks, Michael. Yeah. Thanks, Kyle, for letting us know. I'm glad you were interested in the bridge lift, you know. And if I react badly to people, you know, giving me suggestions, go here. You know, I've been live streaming for 3 years. We got 97,000 on TikTok. Thanks everybody for watching here on YouTube. No matter where you go, someone always asks you to go somewhere else. I was filming the dying of the River Green. Somebody asked me to go to O Block. They thought it was funny. You know, it's just, you know, people are people. That's what it is. They'd rather see O Block than the dying of the River Green, and they probably really would. You know, and I got reruns of the King Von mural. We talk about it all the time. We've gone down there. Jody GTV's gone down there. Watch his videos. Watch the guy that jogs all the streets of Chicago. He jogged 63rd. He jogged Martin Luther King. He jogged 64th, 65th, 66th, 67th, all the way down to 111th. We gone down to Pullman. There's Palace Theater. I go to South Side and West Side. It's hard to get people to watch on the South and West Side too. I know live streamers that live on the South and West Side. Where do they stream? Downtown. Because more people tune in to see the Riverwalk. They just do. You know, it's just what more people. That's what they recognize. Here's the Palace Theater. We're on Randolph Street here, Chicago, Illinois. We'll go past City Hall, and we'll go by the Daily Center here. I think I'll try to cross the street if I can. Well, first we'll cross LaSalle. We'll show you this beautiful view to the Board of Trade, Chicago, Illinois, here, LaSalle Street. There's the new Google. Look, the whole curtain wall is up here. Look how nice that looks. Wow, they got the manhole open. How you doing? Appreciate it. Across the street here. Here's LaSalle Street. Look at that. Look at that great view to the Board of Trade, the Art Deco, the Ceres statue at the top. We walked down there several times. We got videos of that. We've actually gone inside the building. We'll cross the street because I want to film the Rat. Here's the Cadillac Palace Theater here, the Allegro Hotel, and LaSalle Street, Chicago, Illinois. Hey, Google. Katie Chung. Katie Chung's the Korean-American artist that did this design here. And so, there we'll cross. There we got the light. So, LaSalle Street, Chicago, Illinois, Randolph, and LaSalle. So there's your new Google headquarters here. It used to be the Illinois Center, the Thompson Center, designed by Helman Jan. They replaced the glass curtain wall. They totally removed the glass, put new glass on there. They're redoing the atrium. And Alphabet's gonna use it as office space. But they got a rat here because they're using, one of the subcontractor uses non-union labor. And so the union labor made sure to let people know. They put the rat out here. Look what it says. It says, Google's developer, Phoenix Investors LLC, and general contractor undermined local workers there. So they brought in workers probably from out of state to do the subcontract. And local Illinois union members don't like that. So they put the rat out there in front of the Google. There's the big rat. Where's Kenny? Kenny would love filming that. KB, NYC KB. Yeah, I got reruns of The Shameless. I got several reruns of The Shameless on my TikTok. I think we've gone there on YouTube. I've gone to 26th Street, which is Little Village. Shameless House is on 21st and Homan. I got reruns of it. Check them out. Message me. I can send you a link to the video. I don't know if you got TikTok, but if you don't, we'll find a way to get it to you. Ernesto. No, I don't know. Ernie's gone to Little Village. I know Vicky streams in Little Village all the time. Other people might have it, but yeah, I got reruns of the Shameless House. Thanks for asking. See, that's exactly. People ask me to go to the Home Alone house. It's completely in the north suburbs. People have asked me to go to the Family Matters house. They tore it down. The Family Matters house is tore down. I always thought it was on the south or west side. The Family Matters house was in Lincoln Park, and they tore it down to build a big mansion. Can you believe that? So here, let's head over to Daily Plaza. Let's see if they're setting up for the Kris Kringle. We got 1239. Here's City Hall. That's where the Blues Brothers, they crashed the Bluesmobile right here and went in there. Go to the tax assessor. Looks like they're not setting up for the Kris Kringle yet. Daily Plaza is wide open here. So we'll head across Daily Plaza, and probably after Halloween they'll start setting up for the Kris Kringle. I see some tow motors here, so they're kind of prepping. I see some placards. There's some protest activity, so it looks like some people were protesting here. So there's always something going on. But here, we'll head across Daily Plaza here. Here's the City Hall, Chicago, Illinois. This is Clark Street, Washington. Let's see what they're saying here. Hey, Tony Preckwinkle. Something about Tony Preckwinkle. So here's the Picasso. The fountain's still on. The fountain's still on at Daily Plaza. There's the First United Methodist Church. They built office space. There's a chapel at the top and a chapel at the bottom, and they developed their corner there. That was a smart move. Here's the Picasso, Pablo Picasso. This is a rare Pablo Picasso sculpture. He never even came to Chicago. There he is. What's that look like? Some people think it looks like a guy's wife or some type of breed of dog, or a baboon, or a pigeon. Some people think it looks like a pigeon. There's all different theories of what it is. There's the CBS News there, the live broadcast of the... Here's the Eternal Flame. This is to all branches of the military. It's a general Eternal Flame to support military, all branches of the military here. Eternal Flame in memory of the men and women who have served in our armed forces from Revolutionary War to present. Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, National Guard, Reserve, and the Merchant Marines. We always leave the Merchant Marines out, but they're commemorated there as well. So hey, thanks to all the veterans, people serving in the military, National Guard. It's a tough job. National Guard's being asked to do stuff they didn't expect to do. They thought they'd be helping out with hurricanes and disaster relief, not policing cities. But same as it ever was. Yeah, Pink Floyd album. Yeah, it's like the Division Bell. There's an album called the Division Bell. It kind of has that weird face looking stainless steel thing. I think I know what you're talking about. There's also a power plant south of the loop there on the river. It kind of looks like the giant power plant in London with the smokestacks they use in the Animals album cover. And we filmed that as well. There's the loop of Chicago. We got some wind. And we'll head back to Lake Michigan. We'll see if they're still filming for Chicago Fire. Thanks for sticking on here. Appreciate it. Yeah, where's Al Bundy? We'll go to the Buckingham. There is a guy that his handle, his username is Al Bundy. Is that who you're talking about? Yeah, he's tuned in before. I assume it's a man. It says Al Bundy. Yeah, Bonnie, how you doing there? He's an Australian down at the Buckingham Fountain. Hey, look at the matinee here at the Netherlander here. Let's check out all the people here at the theater district here. There's traffic's crossing here. Hey, you got some Garrett's popcorn there. That's great. So hey, look, there's a matinee show here at the Netherlander Theater. A show that restores the faith in human nature. The hills are alive with the sound of music here. This is the Sound of Music at the Netherlander Theater here. Everybody's lined up here. Matinee show here. Look at that. And when the oops, I'm trying to get through here. when the No Kings protest was going on, people were lined up to go to the theaters. It was funny, you know. It was life goes on. There was the whole loop was surrounded by protests, and there was still people going to the musical. There it is. See there. Let's get the marquee here. We'll get beyond this tree here. We'll show the Sound of Music here. There it is, the Sound of Music here. Roger and Hammerstein's here. Nederlander Theater in Chicago. The matinee here. Very nice. So thanks for tuning in. We'll cross here at State and Randolph Street. There's Mace. Hey, they put the trumpets up. So yeah, that's new. That those trumpets weren't up. They're working on State Street. It's very noisy today here. They're working on. There's the Chicago Theater. Hey, we'll show the construction on State Street. So hey, they put the trumpets up here. Oh, Macy's here. There's Chicago. 12:45. Vivid Podcast, November 12th. David Garrett, November 15th. Sal Volcano. Killers of Kill Tony. Ralph Barbosa, November 6th and 7th here. Chicago Theater. Here, look at the train there. There's the elevated train there. Across here, across the way. Hey, look at the train here. Look at this nice view. Look at the density of the loop here. You got the elevated train there. Look at that. There's Chicago Theater. Wrap and Wrap Architects. Yeah, we'll go to Macy's tomorrow. We'll go to Macy's. We'll go inside. At least that's the plan. We'll see if we can make it up to the 7th floor. On Saturday, somebody just informed me they're going to light the Christmas tree in the Walnut Room and start off the holiday season. Here's the Torture Museum. Here's the Medieval Torture Museum here, right next to the Chicago Theater. And right around here. Edelweiss. I know. You're right. Think of the message of the Sound of Music. They were fleeing Austria because of the hostile takeover of Germany to Austria. And he was a proud Austrian. And he fought in the First World War, and they wanted to pressure him to fight for the Nazis. And he had to flee with his family to Switzerland. The Sound of Music, and that's why that movie was so relevant at that time, because people really lived through that war, you know. And Sound of Music. And we shouldn't forget the lessons, because we always think it couldn't happen here, but it can happen here very easily. And I'm just theoretically, ICE could easily become the brown shirts to enforce the political will of one party over the other through the threat of state-sponsored violence, through Congress funding money for private contractors to rent cars and be a political army for one party. And I know people often talk about how the National Guard was used for civil rights in the 60s. That was used to support civil rights. And so I know that was controversial in the South, but it's being used in a different way. It's being used to limit people's civil rights. You know, mainly people that are not U.S. citizens are being impacted the most. And even though they don't have the rights of U.S. citizens, they have basic human rights under the United Nations and the right to know who their accuser. Hey, I'm Brian Rose, Chicago. How you doing? Thanks for saying hello. That's great. Thanks for saying hello. That's great. Hey, you too. Hey, they're filming for Chicago Fire over there. Yeah. Yeah, you got to keep walking. They do it with me too. You just got to keep walking. Yeah, that's good. All right, see you later. That's great. That's awesome. So yeah, I'm heading over there. Here's the parking garage, and Hey, friends and neighbors there. Thanks for saying hello. You heard my voice. And thanks for tuning in here. You stayed in the Trentmont East Chestnut. Marshall Fields. Flyer in the room said Marshall Fields. That's good. See, Nelios. We Chicagoans, we kind of, I often joke, I said the world changed and we stay the same. We still call it the Sears Tower. We still call it the Marshall Fields. We still call it Carson Prairie Scott, even though it's the Gothic Target. Yeah. We're stuck in our ways. We don't want nobody that nobody sent. But hey, it looks like they're still filming for Chicago Fire. I'll walk. I'll see if they let me walk. If I act like I'm walking, just walking on the sidewalk. As long as they keep moving, they might say something, but we'll just be friendly and say hello and keep on walking. Here we are at, hey, welcome to Chicago, welcome to Michigan Avenue. Here, we're right here at Lake in Michigan. They're filming for Chicago Fire, so we're gonna cross the street, and as much as possible, I'm gonna zoom in and try to get some clippable footage here. So here, you know, Chicago Fire, the TV show, they film all over Chicago. They use Chicago as a filming set. Often they use this street here at Lake, just past Michigan, and they got a scene set up here. You see how they got the fire truck, and then they got the ambulance. And try to film this here. It looks like they're setting up a scene here, so they might not let us walk through here. We'll just walk straight through here, and we'll head over towards the entrance to the building. I work in this building, so hey, welcome to Chicago. They're filming for Chicago Fire here. They're at, it's actually Ball Bean Court and Lake Street. We're just east of Michigan, and they're setting up a scene here. They got a wreck here, so we're gonna walk straight through here. And yeah, we're walking straight. I'm walking to that entrance over there. Thank you, appreciate it. And hey, look, see, they got the steam coming out of the car there. People have gathered here to watch. And look, see, it's like a fake wreck there for the show there. Here's the Chicago Fire they're filming here. So yeah, see, Chicago Fire and emergency. You might see this in the show here. So later seasons, keep this in mind. If you see these buildings here, this is where they filmed it here. So hey, thanks. Hey, thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for tuning in here. We're gonna head back to work. Scott. Yeah, there's a Von Trapp family beer. Hey, we'll have to look into that. Home Alone there, Aussie Jace. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning in there. So does it look like a war zone? They're filming for Chicago Fire. So here's your war zone in Chicago. They're filming for Chicago Fire here downtown Chicago. So thanks for tuning in here. And appreciate it. Check out the reruns there. Thanks to mods. We'll see you after 5 o'clock tonight. And we'll go back to looking for Halloween decorations. Have a great day from Chicago, Windy City. We'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. 114, you guys.